Hey guys, Carl from Purple Moose Plays. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the dice drafting game Monsters on Board from Final Frontier Games and designers Aleksandar Mikic, Ivo Neskovic, and Samoil Petreski. This is going to be an interesting one because I do have to apologize in advance that this game is not currently available at retail, but it is one that doesn't get a whole lot of attention that I think probably deserves to get more attention. Spoiler alert. But also, it being the Halloween season, I figured this is the perfect opportunity for me to throw this up as my Halloween game of this year and show you how it plays out so you can get some idea of what this game is all about. This box does include 2 solo modes. One of them is a beat your own score solo mode, and one of them is a solo mode against the AI. I will be playing the solo mode with the AI for my playthrough this time. No disclaimer needed because this is my own copy that I did pick up on my own. With that said, let's head down to the table to see how the solo mode in this one plays, and then I'll meet you back up here to let you know what I think. Before I get started, I just want to mention that the solo mode in Monsters on Board actually comes with 2 different variants. A beat your own score mode, and also a mode against an AI called Spider Jack. For this playthrough, I will be playing against the AI player. To set up a solo game using the AI mode, first begin by placing out the game board onto the table. Next, take the ghost tokens, place them all face down with the ghost side showing. Shuffle them up or mix them up, and then place them in stacks on the ghost spots here on the game board. And then place 1 ghost each in each of these 5 spaces at the top of the board face up. Next, take the 72 Arch monster cards that look like this, give them a shuffle. And place 1 each face up in the 5 slots at the bottom of the board, setting the remaining cards off to the side. And then finally, to finish setup of the main area, take all of the lower dice and place them in the bag. And place the round tracker on round 1. Next, we're going to set up the player area. So first, begin by taking a player board, selecting a color to play as, and for this playthrough, I will be playing green. So I will place my score markers over here on 0 and over here on 0 as well. Then next take 1 of each of the different grunt colors and place them here on the starting spaces for each appropriate color. In addition to the 6 grunt characters, you will also get 6 of these minion figures, and these get placed down here in the minion spots to start. Next, to finish setting up your player board, you're going to take 3 of these summoning trackers, placing them at the starting spot of each of the 3 tracks at the bottom. 3 of these Spider Jack dice, setting them all to value 1, and again placing those at the starting track, or starting space of each track at the bottom. And then finally taking 1 of these Malice trackers and placing that at the starting space of the Malice track on your player board. Then finally, to finish your own setup, you're going to randomly take 1 of these prophecy cards, which is going to sort of be an endgame scoring goal condition. I'll explain how that works later, and set that off to the side as well. And then take 1 of the fear mobiles, placing that up here at the top of your board. And actually, I'm going to place this on this side, because I will then use this area over here for the AI opponent, Spider Jack. So let me go ahead and set up Spider Jack. So just like your setup, Spider Jack will also take a fear mobile, so I'm going to place that right here, like that. And actually, I'm going to drive that down further just to keep some separation between his car and my car, and I'll put his cards here in the middle. Because the next step to set up Spider Jack is to draw 1 die from this bag at random to sort of determine the starting color or the focus color of Spider Jack. So for this game, I will be using red, which means that Spider Jack will be starting with 1 red grunt in his court. And I'll explain what court means in just a minute. But because that is the focus of Spider Jack, I then need to go through the Spider Jack cards that look like this and pull out all 10 cards that have a red icon on them. returning the remaining cards to the box. And then I'll simply take those 10 cards, give them a nice little shuffle, and we'll set them here as the priority for Spider Jack moving forward. And then finally, I'm going to say here that I find the basic version of the solo mode a little bit easy, so I am going to crank things up a bit. The instructions do offer a wide variety of different changes you can make to add difficulty. And I'm going to crank things up quite a bit, adding 6. They suggest that easy mode you do +0 to +2 tweak value. Normal is +3 to +4, difficult +5 to +6, and monstrous is +7. I'm going to aim for a +6. So the first of the changes is going to happen during setup, which is adding a +2. And I'm going to add 2 ghost tokens at random to the court area of Spider Jack. So I will draw 2 of these at random. We've got a blue and a black being added to his courtyard. And then the rest of the difficulty tweaks will happen in gameplay rules coming forward, so I'll explain those when I get to the explanation in gameplay. But one last thing that I do need to do is I also need to add Spider Jack's score trackers as well, and for this game I will make Spider Jack play red. So Monsters on Board is going to play out over a series of 6 rounds, as you can see marked here on the round tracker. And in each round there are going to be a series of phases. And the first phase is simply called the arrival phase, and for the arrival phase I'm going to draw 4 dice at random from the bag for Spider Jack's Fearmobile and for mine as well, rolling them and then placing them into the car. Then once the dice have been placed in, I'm going to turn over the top card of Spider Jack's deck, and this is going to be sort of their priority for this round as far as what it is they will do on their turn. And the next phase is sort of the main phase of how the game plays to start, is that we are going to be drafting. This is the draft phase. We're going to be drafting dice from the Fearmobiles into our own personal supply. And the way that's going to work is I will draft 1 die, Spider Jack will draft 1 die, and then we'll swap cars, again drafting 1 die each, swapping back, drafting 1 die each, and then again swapping, drafting 1 die each. So we will be drafting 2 dice from each of the 2 cars into our own supplies. And there are a variety of different reasons we're going to be doing that. First, when I draft dice, they get placed into these 4 slots at the top of my board. And at the end of the draft phase, each of those will slide down and move the colored grunt that matches that die forward 1 space in this neighborhood track. And depending on what they land on, they're going to be activating different things on this track. After I've done all of that movement, that's the grunt movement phase, I'll then move on to the Swamp Jack phase. And in the Swamp Jack phase, 3 of those dice will get placed down here in the Swamp Jack area. And the remaining 4th die will get placed up here in our Malice area. And what that's going to do is, I'll explain these symbols in just a minute, but when we place into the Swamp Jack area, I will trigger whatever icons are showing on the die that I've placed in there. In addition, at certain points throughout the game, I will be scoring things based on the value printed on the die that I placed in that area. The 4th die that we place in the Malice area is simply going to give us a number of Malice equal to, again, that value that is printed on the die. And then finally, in the final phase, the Spook phase, I will be spending that Malice to purchase ghost tokens and to purchase cards. And the ghost tokens are going to be placed on the locations in the neighborhood, and those are going to sort of add new icons to those locations, so that when something lands on them, those get triggered as well. And the cards are generally going to give me different ways of scoring at the end of the game. So let me try and explain what the icons are doing, and then try and explain how the scoring works. It may not be perfectly clear to start, but then at the end of the game, when the scoring happens, you'll see how that works perfectly. And as I play through, all of the sort of intricacies of how the game or the board interplays with different locations will also become clearer. So to start, let me show you the different icons that exist. They're all printed on the back of the rulebook, so I'm going to go through them one by one. Swap two lords you won't see very often. That comes off of a ghost token, and that's just going to allow me to switch 2 dice on my board from place to place. Plus or minus like this is going to allow me to change the value of any die that I've already placed out in that Spider Jack area. Call Spider Jack is going to move this summoning tracker 1 space to the right. And after I explain the actions, I will explain why all of these things are happening. Gain a Grunt is going to be a unique ghost token. I mentioned before that all of the ghost tokens get placed out into locations here in the neighborhood. But actually, if I have one that has this gain 1 grunt symbol, that will get placed here, and I'll actually gain 1 more grunt of whatever color that ghost token is. And that's going to be interesting because when I do slide a die down to move a grunt, or later use this next action, move a grunt, I'm going to be able to move all of the grunts of 1 color for a single move. So if I have, say, for example, 3 green grunts, all 3 green grunts will move when green gets triggered to move. This action here is move 1 minion. And the minions are going to move anywhere I want them to. They don't have to move space by space. I simply place them on a location. And then the next time that color grunt would land on that location, they instead skip over it and proceed to the next location. So the minions are basically just going to be a way for me to fast track my way through the neighborhood. Any icon you see that looks like this is simply gaining points. So if you saw something like this, that's simply gaining 5 points. Feeding Spider Jack is going to allow me to increase the value of one of my Spider Jack dice, and I'll explain again in just a minute why I want to do that. And then finally, anytime you see this symbol with a hand with a little M on it, that will gain Malice. And again, Malice is the money or the points that I will be spending to buy ghost tokens and buy cards moving forward. So why am I doing all of this? Well, obviously the game is going to be won by the person who has the most points at the end of the game. And points are going to be scored in a variety of different ways. First, as I'm playing the game, I'm going to be slotting dice into my Spider Jack area. And I will occasionally be moving my summoning trackers across this tracking area. And anytime I get to a location that has this question mark with the Fear Juice or Spook Juice logo or icon, I'm going to score a number of points equal to the value of all of the dice in that area at that time. Except that there's a catch. I can only score as many points or as many dice as are covered by the number of this Spider Jack die. So right now with a level 1 Spider Jack die, I would only be scoring the first die, even if this was completely filled with dice. Likewise, if I want to score all of these dice when I land on one of those triggers, I would need to have this set to a 6 or to whatever number of dice I have in that location at that time. You'll also notice on these summoning tracks there are a few other icons that will trigger, and those are all going to be the icons that I just showed you on the back of the book. So those are basically the only in-game scoring aside from potentially landing on spaces here in the neighborhood, 1, 2, 3, 5, and 8 points. When I land on those spaces, I will automatically gain those points. Otherwise, all of the scoring is going to happen at the end of the game, and the end game scoring is going to be triggered by 3 different things. First, grunts that have reached this last spot in the neighborhood. And I'm going to score 3 points per grunt that are in this neighborhood times the number of dice of a matching color that are in this area at the end of the game. Remembering that any dice that are not covered by the value of my Spider Jack dice will not be included in that calculation. So for example, if I had 3 green dice here that were covered by Spider Jack and 1 green grunt here, that would be 1 times 3 is 3, times 3 would be 9 points for those dice. Next, I will be scoring for our prophecy card, which looks like this. And the prophecy card I have right now is actually focused on sort of chunks of my board. So you can see there's 3, 3, 3, 3, and 4. So looking here, that would be 3, 3, 3, 3, and 4. And I'm going to score points for each of those sections as listed if what I've done matches what's happening in that section. So here I'd need to have these two dice adding up to that one, these two adding up to that one, these two adding up to that one, these two adding up to that one, and then finally here, this one's going to be tricky, this minus this equaling the final space. And if I can pull those off, these two would be worth 8 points, these two would be worth 12 points, and this one at the bottom is worth 10 points. So I need to try my best to match as many patterns in this card as possible. Finally, the last way to score at the end of the game is going to be based on these cards down here. So let me show you how these work. These are all going to give me specific end game scoring points if I can match the condition and I've purchased that card. So this first card here says I gain 1 spook juice for each Spider Jack icon that's in a 3x3 square anywhere in this tableau. And remember, for all of these cards as well, I can only score dice that are covered by the value of the Spider Jack die. The next card says I will gain 10 spook juice. Again, spook juice is points, just so you know when you see that. Gain 10 points if I have 3 black dice in one of the rows in Spider Jack. Next, gain 2 spook juice for each green and yellow that are adjacent to each other in my Spider Jack area. Here, 4 spook juice per pair of matching dice in any 2 columns on my Spider Jack board. And then finally, this one is giving me 2 points for adjacency of yellow and white. And white here means any color. So this is just yellow dice adjacent to something. I'm sorry, that looks white, but actually reading the text that says black. So yellow and black adjacency would score from this one, which makes sense based on the picture here. So those are the 5 that we have available to us right now, but those will change up as I play, and I will explain those as we get into gameplay. But with that, you should understand pretty much how the game flows, and again, you'll see how the details work as I play through. So we've already placed out the dice in the cars. Now it's time for drafting. And this is where I didn't mention anything, because Spider Jack is also going to be scoring. And the way that Spider Jack scores is, at the end of the drafting round, the top 3 valued dice, meaning the number in the top left corner, will be scored as they place it into their court. We're going to first score the number on that die, and then they will score an additional number of points based on 1 point for every die of that color, 2 points for every ghost token of that color, and 3 points for every grunt figure of that color in their court at that time. So if they keep focusing on a single color, every time they score that, the points are going to continuously be multiplying. So I kind of need to spread out the colors as much as possible. And I'd also like to keep them to the lowest valued dice if possible. I did also mention I was going to be adding a few more difficulty modifiers to the gameplay this time. 2 of the gameplay modifiers I'm going to be scoring or using are based on those Spider Jack dice. I told you at the end of the game, and also when I trigger these mid-game scoring rounds, I will only be scoring points based on the dice that are covered by my Spider Jack dice. Well, 2 of the difficulty levels or adjustments that I'm going to be adding this time are, whenever I trigger this and also at the end of the game, any spook juice that I could have scored from these in-game triggers or from my prophecy card at the end of the game that I didn't score because my Spider Jack dice didn't cover some of my dice, those extra points will be given to Spider Jack. And that also means if I don't match any of the patterns on my prophecy card, anything I don't match, those points will also be going to Spider Jack. The last twist I'm going to be using is that usually I'm going to be placing 3 dice into their courtyard and scoring those dice, leaving the 4th die here. And that 4th die will simply determine which ghost token Spider Jack is going to be purchasing. But with the difficulty level that I'm using, I'm going to instead also score that die, not scoring for the court, but only scoring the value of that die, and then also leaving that die in the courtyard. So that's going to sort of increase the speed at which the points are getting bigger in the court for Spider Jack. So again, I know that that might be a lot to take in all at once, but I hope that through this gameplay you will sort of understand how everything works, because it's really not that difficult. There's just lots of little working parts in this game. So I'm going to start off with a draft. All right, so the way that Spider Jack is going to draft is that they're going to use the priorities here. Anytime you see a white die, that means any die of any color, and these are colored. So the color is going to be the first priority. If they can draft a die of that color, they will draft that die. Again, white being any color, so that is basically a non-option. And then you'll follow the arrow. Up means the highest value, down means the lowest value. And as far as I know, all of the cards will always be up, up, down like that. It's just going to be a different variety of color. And remember that every card in this deck will at least have one red, because red was the priority we chose at the beginning of the game. So starting at the first, I don't get to do anything to him because we don't switch until after the first die is taken. So the first die here is simply the highest value die, which is this 4 black. Then for me, I know that the next one they want is blue. Highest, there is no blue. The highest is either 3. So regardless, they're going to be taking a 3 of pink or yellow. And right now they have no pink or yellow in their court, so I don't really care about either of those. Just I want to sort of focus on what I need to do. Remembering that I need to do this plus this equals this for these 4 sections, and the bottom this minus this equals this. And these last two, I don't care. Also, I need to remember, I didn't mention this before, Spider Jack always fills from left to right. So once I place the die, then I can place the next die. We're always placing in the leftmost spot of any column, but we can choose whichever column we'd like to place in at any point. This mix of dice isn't great, but I do see a yellow-green pair here and a yellow-black pair here, so I wouldn't mind focusing on yellow and trying to maximize points for yellow. Also black, because yellow-black pair here, and this is 3 black in a single row, gets me 10. So if I focus on those and focus on yellow and black, that's not a bad idea. Looking at the track, yellow is going to let me manipulate dice value in here, which will be very helpful for our prophecy card, and black is going to be driving up the summoning tracker, which will hopefully be scoring lots of points. So I need to start putting big points in here. The problem being that my prophecy card is horizontal. So all of these dice, if I want to match the prophecy card, is going to mean that it screws up here, because I can't have all 6s in a single column, because then I won't be able to do this. Except for if I get all 6s here, score the 6s, and then use plus or minus to readjust for endgame is also a possibility. All that said, I am going to draft this yellow 3, and then we switch cards. Jack wants blue and largest. There is no blue. They will take largest. Just so you understand, if the second priority is a tie, they'll first choose from the closest to the front of the car and then closest to me as the final priority. But in this case, anyway, 3 is the highest. They will draft that. I know that they want red at the end. There are 2 red dice, so I cannot stop them from getting both of them. But I can stop them from getting 1. Looking at what I get here, though, it's not great. Pink is going to get me more malice, which lets me spend more stuff moving forward. Red is going to let me start moving grunts around on the board, which is great, because then I can rush more things to the end. So I think I'm going to prioritize red. I don't want them to have that die anyway, so I will take that. These swap back. They're looking for red lowest, which is going to be that one anyway, even if I didn't take it. I want black, because yellow and black is what I'm prioritizing, and there are 2 black cards and also 2 yellow cards, but I don't have any green yet, so we'll do that. Then finally we would swap back, but basically they're going to take that yellow and I get that pink because the cards would have switched, and that is the end of the draft phase. So moving into grunt movement phase, right now I have 1 of each color, so the order of things doesn't really matter. Also because these are all going to be moving 1 space, and there's absolutely nothing that's triggered in the first space on the first round. So this is simply a matter of yellow, red, black, and pink all moving to the first area of our map. Oops. Black and pink like that. Okay, then we move into the Swamp Jack phase. So Swamp Jack phase is when I'm going to move 3 dice into here and 1 die into my malice area. So I can see that in the malice area, a value of 1 or 2 gets me 1 malice, 3 or 4 gets me 2, and 5 or 6 gets me 3. Well, I don't have a 5 or 6. That 3 would get me 2 points. But again, I really want that yellow in my tableau area. Yes. And pink or red are both 2, so they'll both get me the same number of malice. So basically, I want to be choosing based on the symbols that I want to spend. And the only difference between pink and red is that pink has a plus or minus symbol on it, and red has an advance my tracker symbol on it. And since I don't have a lot of malice this round, I might want to do that anyway, but we'll see what happens. All right, so first off, I'm going to place this yellow die, which I don't know how well you can see on camera because the white doesn't show real well on that with bright light, but it's got 2 Spider Jack symbols and 1 tracker symbol. So this will move forward 1, like that, getting me 1 malice. And then I get to increase the value of 1 Spider Jack die twice or 2 Spider Jack dice once. I'm planning on placing another something here, so I'm going to increase that one to a 2 at least. And then I might as well start a second row, like that. All right. Then, next I will place black, because I am hoping that black and yellow is going to be a thing. But already I see a possible issue. No, I think we're going to be okay. Black lets me move a grunt anywhere. Lets me move 1 color anybody. And lets me gain 1 malice. So I'll start with gaining 1 malice. And then I want to place this. Again, we're prioritizing yellow and black for the most part. I'm going to place this here so that in a second move of black, they will skip that space and not waste 1 turn there. And then I'm actually going to move, I'm going to move pink so I can get 1 more malice. Yes. And then finally, I don't really need a plus or minus yet, so I'm going to leave that and I will place out red. It doesn't really matter where I'm placing it, except that I don't want that here because yellow-black adjacency or yellow-green adjacency could be good in the future. So probably I should have increased this Spider Jack die, but that's fine. I'll get a chance to do more later. Moving to another minion, and I'm going to put him on pink. As I know I said I was looking at black, but I'm actually going to focus on pink right now. Yes. Then I got another movement, so I will move pink there, which gets me 1 more malice. Yeah. And then I get to move the tracker 1 more forward, like that. And pink may have been a mistake. Hold on a minute. Yeah, I'm going to undo that, moving this guy instead to a spirit tracker, which is still going to get me that malice from this track. So we'll leave it like that. I'm at 4. Then finally, this one gets placed here. And a value of 2 gets me 1 malice, so I am up to 5. Spider Jack scores. So first, the black 4 is going to score me 4 points, or score him 4 points. Then plus 1 point for this black die and 2 points for that black ghost. So 4, 5, 6, 7 points, like that. Next highest is this 3 pink. There is no pink yet in their court, so they'll place that and simply score 3, and then 1 more for that pink die. So they're up to 11. And you'll see in this game that the AI is actually going to race up the score tracks, and we'll score a ton of endgame points, so it may not be obvious how well I'm doing until the end of the game. Now, red and yellow both have a value of 1. When they are tied, you're going to choose the die that scores the most points based on the die and the court. And since they've got a red grunt, they will place that red. So that's 1, 2, and then 3 for the grunt. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points for that. Puts them at 6. Now, if we were playing on the basic mode, that would be it. This die would go back into the bag, and they would simply use that number 1 to determine where they're shopping in the next phase. But because I'm playing on a higher difficulty level, I'm going to score that die only on value alone, so that's a 1. And then it will stay in the court to score more points in future rounds. But that still is the die they will use to buy things, so they are focused on a 1. Which means I need to be careful because I want that card. And the way that Spiderjack buys is they always buy a ghost, but they then eliminate the same card in the same location on the board. So if I don't buy now, and I get to buy first, which is great, if I don't buy now, they're going to take that and remove that from the game, and that's the one that I need to have. So I have 5 Malice. I could buy that right away. But I could also buy something lower that will slide over and they'll buy whatever it replaces or remove whatever replaces that. And yeah, I'd rather save some money and pick that up later game. So I'm going to spend only 3 to take this card, which is going to score me points, 10 points if I can get 3 black in the same row. They don't have to be adjacent. So I could have yellow, black, yellow, black, yellow, black. And those 3 blacks would score me 10 points. And I'll set these up here for now just to keep them out of the way on screen, which means these all slide down like that. And this replaces, which is gain 8 spook juice if you have 2 ghosts in a neighborhood. And neighborhoods are the ones that have the houses printed on the board that don't have any icons in the spaces. So if I have 2 ghosts in a neighborhood, I will score 8 points with that card. And in a neighborhood means in a single neighborhood. Now, Spiderjack has a 1, means they will take this black like that. And that card gets removed anyway. We replace that ghost, which is now a blue 2 plus or minus, and a new scoring card comes out. And this scoring card says, gain 1 spook juice for each town space your skeleton grunt has spooked. A town space is any space on this board. And skeleton grunt is black, which means for every space that the black grunt moves through, I will gain 1 point. So if I can get it all the way to the end, I would be scoring 12 points. And since I'm focused on black and yellow for this gameplay, that would also be very nice for me to have. So I want to take a look at that in the next round. Now, it is still, the spook phase means I am still able to purchase more now that Spiderjack has made their 1 purchase. I could spend 2 to pick up one of these 2 ghost tokens, either a 2 plus or minus that goes on a pink space, or this swap 2 dice that can go on any colored space. But I don't really need either of those right now, so I'd rather save my Malice for the next round because I do want to focus on these 2 cards. These 2 cards moving forward. So we moved around 2 and we refill the dice. And already I'm a little bit scared because I see 3 reds there and I don't like it, but let's see what their priority shows. Yeah, okay, good. Not good. They're going to start by drafting the biggest die, which is a 6. Ouch. And I can see on their next turn that they're going to draft the highest red. So if I leave them that 5 red, they're going to take it. So, sorry, this should have gone back in the bag before I rolled, but I'll remember to do that next time. I'm going to draft that 5 simply because I don't want them to score a 5 red. And I can potentially make use of it. I also just realized putting this 2 here was a big mistake because this is this minus this equals this. And that's not going to happen with a 2. Whoops. We're going to have to try and drive that up later on or find a way to swap it with something else. Okay, like maybe that 5, for example. Then, cars switch. They draft the highest red, which is this 2. And I'm drafting black or yellow, probably. They don't care if they get a 2 blue, because they only have 1 ghost and 1 other thing. They're going to actually take the lowest die anyway. This is a problem. Because, yeah, if I take this 1, they're going to take the lowest, which is 2 or 2, and they'll always choose closest to the front, which they're the same, and then closest to me. So I can't take yellow and black, because if I take yellow, they'll take black, and if I take black, they'll take yellow. Or blue or black, they'll take yellow. So that means my only choice then, kind of, is to take the black. Yeah, we can prioritize black. It's not great, but we can do it. I'll take that to black. We switch. They want green, but there isn't any, so they take the lowest number as a 1. If I let them have that red 1, they're going to score 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points off of that die. I can't let them have that. But hold on. This will score 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 points. Actually, I'd rather have the black then. Let them take the red. Okay, then I get the blue and they get the red. And it's my turn to start doing things. Now, I need to pay attention because this red lets me put down one of these minions, which could drive my black guy further along. Yeah, let's do that. Red first. Moves a minion. And I'll place that minion here, which means black moves twice. Once here, moving a tracker here. I don't want to do that yet because that's not worth any points yet. I'm going to move him 1 there. Then the second movement, he skips there and goes here, moving this again, which moves there and triggers 1 more movement. And I'm focused on black and yellow. So let's move yellow forward 1. And I'll use that to raise this red from a 2 to a 3. No. Let's keep that as a 2. Actually, you know what? Hold on. 3 plus 2 is 5. If I can get that to a 6, yeah, let's change this to a 4, because then I'll score more points when I triggered that. And if I can get a 6 there, that's great. Then blue moves forward 1 space and does nothing. Then looking at what I have on my board, 5 would get me lots of points to spend, but I don't really care because that red would be really nice to have if I can end up swapping those. So I want to place this 2 black here. Because if I can put a 5 red there, 5 minus 2 is 1. If I can get a 1 there, that's great. Plus, if I put a black there, I can later put a yellow right there to score on that adjacency as well. So that gets me 1 minion movement, which I might as well use to keep driving that black forward. Gets me 1 movement of something. And I might as well move pink to use that and get 1 here. And then I get 1 malice from the black die. Then I am going to take this 5 and place it here, because eventually I want to swap these 2 dice with each other using that ghost up there. And that gets me a plus or a minus on something and gets me a movement on a track. I'm going to use that to move another minion there. And plus or minus. I'm actually going to increase this to a 6. Yeah. Okay. Then black or blue? Black is going to get me 2 malice, but I'm already at 4, and I want more black dice on my board. So I'm going to take that black one and put it here, because now that's a 3. 3 plus something should be not too hard to do. It's also black next to yellow if I get that card, which I'm really hoping to do soon. Yeah, good. So I place that there. I get 1 spider jack. This one is getting long. I need to increase that to a 2. I get 1 tracker. I might as well move that for now. Yeah, like that. And then I get 1 more malice. And then finally this blue comes down. It's a 2, so I only get one more to a 6. Spider Jack scores 6 plus 7, 8, 9 points. So they go up like that. Then the next biggest is the red is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they go from 26 to 33. Red and yellow, red is going to score more. They're both 1, so they take this red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 puts them up to 40, like that. And then again, this 1 is what they're going to be purchasing with, but they will score 1 point off of that, like that. And that means that they are going to be trying to eliminate this card, and I really want this card. So I need to buy that or something else so it shifts over. But I'd rather save a little bit of money because I'm going to do this. Spending 4 to take that card there. That's my black and yellow pairs, which I've already been working on, which is great. That slides over. I get a new card that is now scoring for blue and yellow pairs, which I don't care about at all, which is fine because they're going to draft that blue ghost, remove that. New card is, oh, this is cool. Place 1 grunt that made it to the final town space on this card. Score 5 spook juice per dice of a matching color. So if I place my black guy on there, instead of scoring 3 per die, I'd be scoring 5. That's really nice. All right, and replacing the ghost that went away. Oh, even nicer. Here's a new black grunt, which means I could have 2 of them out there scoring more points for my black dice. Yes, then I am going to spend my last 2 malice to take that rainbow one. And, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I'm going to put it on red because it's likely that I'm going to take red from them to prevent them from getting red at some point. Means they will move there and I can swap those 2 dice. That's good. Okay. End of that round, moving into round 3, replacing dice. And then turning over the next priority is white, red, blue. Yeah, this is annoying because, well, let me do this. They're going to take the highest die, which is this green 6. Then I know on the next turn they're going to take either red or the highest, which means this yellow or this red. And I really want that yellow, but I don't want them to have that red. But it's more important for me to have that yellow. But that 1 is going to score 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points. But it's going to be a 1. As long as it's the only one they draft. It won't be because there's lots of 1s. Okay, then. That's sad, but I think I might have to do that. I don't want a 6 there anyway. I don't know what I was aiming for a 6. What did I need the 6 for? I need a yellow 6 here. That can come later. All right, then I am going to take that red. And I did it again. Sorry, this blue should have gone back into the bag. So there's a chance it could have come out, but I apologize. I take that 1. We swap. They're going to take the yellow because it's the highest. And they're aiming for blue or lowest, which means they will take that blue. But you know what? I don't see a ton of stuff that I need to have, except that I did want that yellow. If I take that yellow, they get this 5 blue, which is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 points for them. That's huge. But they're going to take the lowest, which is that yellow. Yeah, but I got to deal with it. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to take the blue. And then we swap. They will take the lowest, which is yellow. And I want that black, because I really don't care about green, and pushing black is a good idea. Then they get this green, and I get this pink. Okay, not horrible. Okay, so then we go. Red moves forward 1 space and swaps this die and this die like that. And then blue moves forward 1 and adds 1 spider jack value, which I want to do here, so that counts. Black moves forward 1 space and increases 2 trackers. So I will do 1 and 2 like that. And then finally, pink moves forward 1. There's nothing there. They're simply moving forward. And this is kind of sad that pink is moving as much as it is because I don't have any pink dice, but I could. Okay. Then, ooh, yeah, that's actually not a bad thing at all. I don't care about this red, but 6 minus 2 minus 2 equals 2. So if I take that red and place it there and upgrade it later, that's fine. But the problem is, ooh, you know what? I can trigger some stuff. Hold on. I want to, no I can't. Yeah, I can't this turn. I need to be extra careful because I'm going to start pushing trackers up. I don't have enough stuff yet. I don't have any way to push Spiderjack. This is a bad set of dice. I wasn't paying attention to symbols because I got a lot of track stuff moving up. And I don't want a lot of track stuff moving up. I wanted that pink because it'll score off here and it'll drive 2 things up. The problem is it doesn't drive the things up that I want to be driving up. Yeah, that's unfortunate. And movement's going to be more important right this second. No. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to have to do some weird stuff. I'm going to have to place out this 5 here, which lets me increase 2 things. But the problem is I can't increase that one. So that's okay. If I do 6 minus 2 minus 3, increasing that to 3 is 1. That's good. And if I change this to a 4, that doesn't hurt anything. It just means that's bigger. That's great. Then, it's a shame because I lost that adjacency, but that's okay. I'm going to place blue down here to increase this one to a 6. 4 plus 2 is 6 now. That's great. And one thing gets to move. And I really want to make it so that... Yeah, I'm going to move red because then I can move a grunt. No, hold on. I can't put that 5 there. I need to put that 5 somewhere else. And it's going to have to be there or here. Yeah, but 5 plus something is not good. I want to keep this space open for a yellow. I don't want 4 plus 5 anyway. I'm going to put that 5 there so I don't mess that up. And I already did the plus and I already moved. I got to move a minion. I don't need to add or subtract things at the moment. I want to prioritize getting these. So I'm going to put that on blue so I can get him to a Spiderjack and start raising Spiderjacks. Then I am going to take this black die, placing it down here, because 6 minus 2 minus 3 is 1, so that's great. I move 2 up on these trackers. So I'm going to move 1 here and 1 here, like that, so I don't score anything yet. And then I get 1 malice for that, and unfortunately that means all I'm getting is 1. And I just realized I never replaced the ghosts last time, but that's okay. Placing this one out. Ooh, a green grunt who hasn't moved at all this game. And from that 1, I only get 1. So unfortunately, I'm only at 2 malice this turn. Spiderjack goes, biggest is green 6. He has no green, so that's 7 points. Puts him at 48. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points is 48 to 54. Then, green or yellow, he has more yellow, so he'll take the yellow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 59. And then finally, this 1 green is just a 1. Means just a 1 point, but that puts him up to 60 points. Like that. And also means they are focusing on this 1, which means they're gonna remove this card because I don't have enough malice to buy a card. So even if I wanted to take that, I can't. And I'm not gonna waste my malice on that because I want this thing, and I want stuff later on. So unfortunately, he's gonna take this green ghost and trash that, replacing this with a blue grunt. And a new card that's going to score off of green and black adjacency. like that. We move to round 4. This time I will remember that die goes back in. And I roll dice. And we've got a very pink and blue heavy round this turn, which is not happy for me and not great for him anyway. Blue's a little bit tricky. White, red, and black this time. So I need then to focus on high numbers to get lots of malice and so on. I don't want him to take, he's going to take a high or a red. If I take that 6, he takes the 5. But that 5 is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And that 6 is just 8. So I'm going to take that 5 so he doesn't, and he will take the 5 pink. So they switch. He takes the 6 pink. And I need that yellow because that's the only important one for me. We switch back. They're focused on black low. There is no black, so they're going to take another pink. And I'd still rather them have pink than blue. And driving blue for me is not a bad idea, actually, because blue's going to be giving me Spider Jack additions, and I need those badly right now. So, ooh, that 4 gives me 3 of them. That's great. All right, so I am going to take another blue. Yeah, but that pink is nice. But this pink, 1, 2... Oh, no, the last die is not going to matter. Ah, but it will. If I put that blue, it's going to score that instead of this one. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not that different. I'm going to take the pink. And then we'll switch here and here. They get that blue. I get that too, which is another blue. Okay, good. Then, blue moves twice. Doesn't matter if I block him because there's no way to move minions except with red. So 1 Spider Jack and 1 nothing. And I want to score this top row soon. So we're going to a 3. And then, yellow and pink. Yellow jumps to a plus or minus 1. This is where things get interesting. I'm tempted to drive that to a 6 just to get more points this round. But then I have to bring it back down again. I think that's it for me. No, you know what? I'm going to drop that down from 4 to 3. Because I'm hoping to put that yellow there to score on 3 adjacencies. Yeah, good. And pink moves forward and gets me 1 malice, like that. All right, now we start pulling things down. I'd like to put that 5 here so I can get a lot of malice to start buying things with. So I'm going to hold off. That gets placed last officially, so let's place the other things. This 4 goes here and gets me 3 Spider Jacks, which is awesome. So I'm going to drive this up to a 5, 4, 5. And I get 1 more, which will make this a 4, like that. Great. Then I'm going to put this 1 here. 5 plus 1 equals a 6 if I can get one later. Moves this up twice, and I'm going to do this once. Twice gets me a malice and scores this. This is a 5, and I've got 5 dice, so I can score them all. 4 and 6 is 10, and 2 is 12, and 5 is 17, plus 1 is 18 points for me. So I will go up to 8 here and 10 there. Making sure 6 and 6 is 12, 17, no, 14, and 4 is 18. Good. And then I also get a plus or minus 1. And with that, I'm going to drop this 4 to a 3. So it's easy, it's possible for me to score that as a 6. Then I get to move 2 more things, potentially, and a minion. Yeah, this is good. Okay, then I'm going to take this 2. 5 plus 1 equals something. 1 plus 2 equals something. No, that doesn't matter. These 2 don't matter. So that's great. That goes there. I just need to make sure to increase this more. I place a minion. And they're all out now, so I can move them from anywhere to anywhere else. So I don't need this yellow back here. I will move the yellow over here. Good. Hold on, do I care about that at the moment? Plus or minus, is that going to help me? 4 plus 2 is 6, 5 plus 1. I could drop that one, or drop that one. Yeah, let's do it anyway, because I want yellow to get here. That was my movement. I get 2 movement. Yellow moves here for a plus or minus 1, dropping that down to 2, because 5 would likely be easier to get to. And then I'm going to move black forward 1 as well. 5 comes here, which gets me 3, so I'm up to 7. If I ever get past 8, I just forfeit everything, so I need to avoid that if possible. Then, highest number is 6, 6, 7, 8 points for them, like that. Next highest is 5, 5, 6, 7, 8 again, goes from 68 to 76. Then pink and blue are both 1, but blue is going to score me more based on what they've got. So they get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And 6 goes to 83. And finally, their last die is a 1. It's going to go here and score 1 point. And they will be focused on that 1 again. But purchase time. Now I can have some fun. I want that black as far as possible 1. And I really want the extra grunt. They're focused on these 2 anyway. I don't care. So I'm going to... I don't want to forfeit something good there, so I don't want to clear this row yet. So I'm going to get this one first, which puts me down to 4, and I take that, placing that here, which then instantly adds another black grunt right there. This slides over. He gets a yellow now. That's great. I'd rather him have that than blue, I think. Maybe. No, maybe not. That means Spiderjack takes that yellow ghost like that and discards this card like that, filling in 4 spook juice for pair of matching dice in 2 columns. And then another ghost comes out, which is 6 points on a pink track. Okay, that is that. This goes back into the bag, and we reset for round 5. So then placing out new dice, flipping over new priority, like that. They are going to take the highest, which is 6. Closest to me is this 6. Doesn't matter which one they take, but they'll take it. Next, they're looking at black or high. So if I don't take that black now, they will, so I will. We swap. And I want that 6 pink because that's going to go here, scoring me lots of points if I get to the end here, and also 5 plus 1 equals 6, scoring me this as well. So that would be great. Yeah, so I want that 6. They're taking highest, which is 4. We swap. They take red or lowest. There's no red, so they do take that black from me, unfortunately. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. If I knew they were taking lowest, yeah, that's stupid. I'm sorry. I'm going to retcon and say I took that black. That was poor planning, but I get it. Now they're taking lowest, which means they take that 3. And they're going to take whatever I leave them. I don't care about green at all. Red gets me more movement. Green's going to get me Spiderjacks, but I can get them if I use that black, which I want to anyway. Yeah, I'm going to take... hold on. That 2 is going to score them a lot. I can't let them have that 2. Then we switch back. They get the green. I get that pink. Okay. Not ideal, but good enough. So pink and red moving do nothing for me. Red simply goes here, and pink simply goes here. Black moves twice. I have 2 of them now. So the first movement, he goes there, and he goes there, getting me 2 movement on tracks. I'm going to move up 1 here and 1 here, which means I do score this one. And the reason I'm doing that is because if I score this one now, this die doesn't score, and that would actually give those 2 points to Spiderjack, and I don't want to do that yet. So I'm going to score this as simply 5 points, which puts me up to 23, like that. Then I move again. He goes there, and he goes there. With 1 more tracker, this will go up 1, getting me that like that. Okay. Then, placement. I want to make sure that this 6 goes here. But I don't want to do that yet, because I want to focus on this as well. I want to place this 4 here first, increasing this to a 5, increasing this to a 3, getting 1 malice. Because 3 plus 2 is not 4, but if I place this 6 here, which makes 5 plus 1 equals 6, I also get a plus or minus 1, changing this to a 5. And now 3 plus 2 does equal 5, which is great. Then I'd like to push this up. I mean, this black die is going to be worth points, but I'd rather have more movement here than more movement there. Although I can get that from this. Yeah, let's do that instead. I'm going to take the black die, and I'm going to put it here, which is sad. Hold on. Do I put it here just because? It's useless there, and then whatever I take next time has to automatically equal that. No, I'm going to put it there. I don't get the adjacency from the yellow, but I'm going to put it there. I move 1 minion. And right now, I don't really care what I'm moving. This would be a pumpkin jack. Yeah, yellow, I want to move more. Let's do that. Like that. Then I get to move 1 color and take 1 malice. So I'm up to 7, and I'm going to move black again. So he goes there, which means scoring at the end. He goes there, which gets me 1 more summon track, which is going to push that one up to here to score all 5 dice. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 points for me. Puts that to a 7 and that up to 30. This 2 comes here and pushes me up 1, which is fine because I'm maxed out anyway. Spider Jack scores 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 points. So he's up to 95. Then this 4, unfortunately, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 means he's up to 100. Now, this was supposed to be printed with 100 on the other side. It wasn't, so I'm going to stand it up like that to know that that's at 100. Then blue or green. Green's got 1, 2, 3, 4, and blue's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he'll take the blue. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 again. He's up to 115. And he takes that 3 just as a 3. 1, 2, 3, up to 120, like that. And that 3 is his die that will be selecting things up here. We go into purchasing. I need to have this black advanced on the track because I've got lots of black movement. So I will take that card for 4, putting me down to 4. This one slides over, this one flips. New one is 2 spook juice for each 4 in anywhere. Just 1. So that's not great for me right now. Okay. He's going to take number 3. 1, 2, 3 is that pink foot. Like that. Which means 1, 2, 3. This one goes away as well. They all slide down. This flips over, which is 3 yellow in a row. Not going to happen this game, probably. These slide down, flipping over 1 more. Black gets me 2 more tracker movement. Okay. Then, do I spend more malice? Probably, because if I don't and I get more than 4 in the next round, I'm in trouble. 1 spook juice per Spider Jack icon in a 3x3 grid. This one's got 3 on it. 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 points. That's not bad. 4 per matching pair of dice in a thing. If I did here, that's 2, and that's pair. There's 2 pairs there. No, I don't like that one very much. 4s I definitely don't need. Yellows I don't need. So that's going to score me some points, potentially. Or I can try and get something up here. I don't care about a blue grunt. I don't really care about plus or minus right now. Although I could. Yeah, I'm going to spend 2 on this green plus or minus. Because I need this to work as a total. And if it doesn't, I can always move him to make sure that it does. Because I don't want Spider Jack to get that 12 points. Everything else is working. 4 and 2 is 6, 5 and 1 is 6, 3 and 2 is 5. 6 minus 2 minus 3 is 1. That's my concern. I want to do that just in case. Which leaves me with 2 more malice, and I don't have anything that I want to buy for 2, so I will stop there. This goes back in the bag, and we reset for our 6th and final round. And already I see something that makes me very sad, because they're instantly taking the highest die, which is that black 5, and I wish I could have had that, because it would have worked really well there with a yellow there and a black there, and 2 plus 3 is 5, but that's how things work. They're next taking a yellow highest, so I want to take that 3. And we switch back. They're going to take that 2 yellow. They're taking red or lowest, but that 1 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 points. Actually, I don't mind them having that red. Potentially. Taking another yellow would get me 3 yellows, and I could get that. 2 plus 3 equals 4. I need 3 plus or minus, and that's a 2 plus or minus, but I can only do it if I take the green. They're going to take the red if I let them. Yeah, all right, I'll take the green. We swap those. They take the red. I want that pink, because 6 points is pretty if I can do something with it. Or lots of malice is pretty if I can buy something. They get this blue, I get this yellow, and that is the last draft. Then, we got all kinds of plus and minus right now. Yellow, yellow means skip there to 2 plus and here. So I get 2 plus or minus. I want this. This is going to be a yellow. And I don't know that I'm getting to the end of this, or if I care to get to the end of this. So, if I drop this to a 1, that's good. Then I can increase this one just to get me more potential scoring if I can drive that to the end. But I can't. I only have one thing here. And one thing here. Okay. Then, pink moves and gets me 2 malice. Oops. 1, 2 like that. And green moves gets me plus or minus 2. Again, it doesn't matter here. Make that a 5. I don't think there's any way I'm getting to the end of this, but we'll see what happens. Then we need to start placing things. I was going to put a 6 there, but I might save the 6 for malice. In any case, 1 plus 2 equals 3, so yellow, yellow, yellow would get me the points for that, and I want it. So I get to move a minion, which I can do there, and then I get to increase a spider jack, which I would definitely need to do there, and I get to move. So I could move yellow, or I could move black. I need to move black. So I'm coming here, this goes up by 1. Then I definitely place this, whoops, this 3 yellow here. 1 plus 2 does equal 3, which gets me that. I get 2 more spider jacks, so I definitely need 4 or 5 there. Damn it, I'm not going to get that. Unless I can get a spider jack, which I can. Not in a great way, but I can. Then I get 1 more of that, which is going to be this one for sure, because I'm going to score that. 4 and 2 is 6, and 6 is 12, and 5 is 17, 18, and 6 is 24. This goes to 4, and this goes to 50, like that. Then I need to place that too. Because I need to move something. And the minions aren't going to matter, but I need to move something. This is nice. I'm going to move 2 minions and then a move. So I'm going to place a minion here for black and a minion here for black. and then I'm moving black. So he's skipping this, 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 and coming here to move 2 on the tracker here, which right now doesn't mean anything because I'm not going to be able to do much. But I don't care about this die because this die is not scoring anything here. Means I only care about this one being a 6. So this moves up 1. It doesn't matter where else I move because nothing else is going to change. But that makes the blue guy move forward 1. Spider Jack goes here. This is a 6. So now that die counts. Yay. Pink 6 comes here, which gets me 3 more. 1, 2, 3 more of those. Spider Jack gets a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Goes up to 136. Next is blue or yellow. It doesn't matter because, yeah, it doesn't matter. They won't score that red because it's a 1. The 2's come before the 1. So yellow, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Puts them up to 145. Blue, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Puts them up to 155, like that. And they'll score that 1 red as a 1, and they're going to be prioritizing that slot, which means going into buying, I need to buy this one first. Going down to 2, I take that card because that is going to be worth some points for me, as I do have 3 yellow in a row. This gets replaced with 6s getting me 2 points each. Then he is prioritizing 1, so he'll take that pink and kill that card like that. And now with 2 purchasing power, all I can get is one of these ghosts, but ghosts don't do anything without movement of grunts, so I don't have any reason to spend any more malice. Going in now to final scoring. Checking first my tableau. This is a 5, means this last die goes bye-bye. We might as well get rid of that, it doesn't really matter. Then I am going to score based on this piece right here, this card right here, and then all of the cards that I have up there. So let's start here. I have 1 grunt there that's black, so I get 3 points for every black die. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, gets me 18 points. So 18, hold on, first 10 to 64, and then 8 more gets me up to 72. Next, taking a look at these cards. 3 black in a row gets me 10. 1, 2, 3 black in that row gets me 10, up to 82. Yellow and black pairs gets me 2. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 times 2 is 14. So this goes to 6, and up 10 is 96, like that. Next, 1 point for every space that my black grunts have moved. So I get a 12 for this one, and I get a 10 for this one, so that's 22. So this goes to 8, and 20, 100, 110, like that. Finally, 10 points for 3 yellows in the same row. I do, so 10 more points from that is 128. And now we score my prophecy card. So first, plus plus equals. 4 plus 2 is 6. That gets me 8 points. So this will go up to a 6, 30. Next one here, 5 plus 1 is 6. That gets me 12 points. 40, 1, 2 is 48. Next, 3 plus 2 equals 5. That gets me 8 points again, back to 6 and 50. 1 plus 2 equals 3 is another 12 points. So again, 8 and 10, like that. And then finally, 6 minus 2 minus 3 does equal 1, which gets me another 10 points. And I have successfully beaten the AI on a difficult level with a score of 178 to their score of 156. And as always, there is a chance that I did make some mistakes along the way. So if I did, I will definitely call those out in subtitles later. But now this is the point in my video where I do like to take a look at the components. And pretty much all of the components are on the screen except for a few small things. So let me pull them on first to show you everything. First, not too important, but the other two player colors in the box are blue and yellow. I do really love the look of these Spook Juice images. I do love the chunkiness of these wooden components. But again, it would have been really nice if there was 100 printed on one side of these, so you didn't have to do something like this. I did hear also in a forum that they suggest you put a ghost token on top to keep track of the extra 100. But again, if it simply said 100, and I might just go in with a black marker and write that on myself, it would have been nice to have. Next, in addition to these two Fearmobiles, this one's sort of a vampire-looking car. There's a coffin on the inside of the car. Sorry, the bottom of the car. There's a bat on the inside of the car, if you can see it. And this one is sort of the skeleton car. Pretty cool looking cars. Then we've got this sort of mummy looking car here. Really cool. And our fourth car is, I said the other one was a skeleton, but this one is fully skeleton. This is all made out of bones. Pretty cool looking stuff. I do really like the way that the Fearmobiles look. Now, granted, just like the components in Merchant's Cove, you do have to build these when you get the game, and you have to be really, really careful when bending these edges because the sort of glossy paper on the top and bottom of the card can sort of peel away from the cardboard as you're folding if you're not extra careful. But I kind of knew that already from the Merchant's Cove building as well, and was extra careful this time. And again, once they're built, they're really, really sturdy. Even if there was a little bit of pull, because of how everything locks in, they're very, very nice and sturdy. And I do really love the look and the design of these. I actually did have, there's available as an additional purchase, sort of fully 3D plastic Fearmobiles, like miniature, but not miniature because they're big, Fearmobiles. And I much preferred the look of the cardboard ones just because this does have the Micho artwork on it as well. They're super colorful, and for somebody who doesn't paint very much, I didn't want to have to paint the other cards, and I didn't love the look of the sculpts, so I was really, really happy with these cardboard cards, or cars, aside from the fact that you do have to be careful when building them. I did mention that they do have Micho artwork. All of this game has artwork from the Micho, just like the other games from Final Frontier, and again, I continue to say that I think the Micho's artwork in the Final Frontier games is still some of my absolute favorite work that he does in any of the games that he's done. And again, I love the way that that looks on the board here. The sort of theming of the haunted house party with all of these guests working their way through the neighborhood to come to the party, scaring people along the way. The look of all of the different creatures on these cards. I just love his design and his artwork in these games, and again, I really love it here. And even cooler here is that this, the deluxe copy of the game, does come with minis for all of the different grunts, and I don't know how well these are going to show up on camera, but the sculpts of these are designed based on Micho artwork. So it's really cool to have sort of a 3D sculpt of some of his work. I would love to maybe paint these up someday, but they are all color-coded, so I'd have to make sure to keep that color in some way when I was painting them. But again, I do love the sculpt of these minis. I do love the way that sort of the Micho's artwork, sorry, here's one more. The minions, great looking little goblin kind of creatures. I love the way that his artwork looks also in 3D. Now, that said, I do think that the size of things here is a little bit too big because this board is not huge, and you can see there's quite a bit of crowding when you've got a lot of stuff in one location. These minis probably could have been a slight bit smaller, and they would have fit nicer on the board and still looked equally cool. Increasingly, or more importantly, this malice tracker, I don't mind it, but it is a sort of 3D sculpted like hand coming out of a graveyard. I don't know how well this is focusing right now, but it looks cool. It works all right, but it's a little bit fiddly, and I think just a normal wooden disc probably would have been fine, even in the deluxe version. And more importantly, or most importantly, this summon track piece looks really cool. I understand the design of it. I think it's an interesting idea, but it's very, very fat and heavy here with a really small base. And you saw many times in my playthrough that these fall over very easily. So again, just a column or a little sort of cylindrical tracker of some kind. I know the regular retail version of this game does just have a piece of wood, like a cylinder that fits in there. I just wish, I don't mind the 3D or the miniature version of this, the plastic version of this, because it does match all of the other components. But it would have been nice to have the design maybe a little bit narrower, or a little bit less heavy, so that they don't topple over and aren't knocked over so easily. So again, I love the design of all of these 3D pieces, but the size of them could have all been sort of shrunken down just a bit. That said, the round tracker is a really cool, again, I don't know if you can see this on camera, a really cool jack-o'-lantern piece. I like that one quite a bit. And most interestingly, this doesn't get used in the solo mode because I'm always the first player, but this sort of Frankenstein and other monsters riding on a Fearmobile piece is the first player marker, and I really, really love the design and the look of that piece. The dice themselves, the colors pop. The iconography is kind of crowded and small, but you know, that's the way the game plays, and you kind of need all of those icons, and it's not hard to identify which one's which, even with the small iconography. Even at a quick glance, it's all very readable, aside from maybe the white printing on the yellow dice. It may have been more easily seen if they had swapped the color on some of the different dice, like the yellows and potentially the pinks or something else, just to keep the pattern going. But especially on the yellow, if it had black printing or some other colored printing on it, it might be easier to see, but it's not that big of a deal. The dice are nice and chunky and plastic. They roll very, very well. No complaints there, aside from, again, maybe the yellows could have been a little bit more readable. This bag that came with the game, now this is, again, the deluxe version. I'm not sure what this looks like in the base version, but the quality of it's real nice. It's a very nice big opening, so you can get your hands in and out with a fistful of dice. Not a problem. Otherwise, that's basically all of the components that come in the game. I do want to show you how things fit in the box, because this game does come with an insert, but you really got to do some fancy sort of placement to get everything back in the box, but it does fit. First, in the base of the box, without the insert, I've got all of the player boards folded in half, with the pink grunts here, and all of the sort of gray plastic pieces fit right in there. And then, on top of that, there is a plastic tray. And the way that this works is all of the Spider Jack dice fit into this sort of little area right here, with the Spider Jack cards placed on top of that. Means the AI cards fitting on top of there like that. And then all of the bigger cards fit inside this slot right here like that. In this corner here, the dice go, but if you put the dice in the bag, they don't really fit in here because it's not very deep. So I put all of the dice loose and packed very tightly like that, with the bag sort of rolled up and folded in this side slice over there once all the dice are in. And then down in here, again, this is where you have to do a little bit of wiggling. The cars all fit in like this, vertically, and then all of the other minis besides the pink ones fit in here, sort of randomly fit as they fit, with the ghost tokens placed in a bag that I've got them in there, and the score trackers as well placed in a bag and placed in there. So it all fits, and it does hold it nicely, but the design of the insert could have been a little bit better, just to make sure everything fit the way it's supposed to fit. I don't really want to damage the minis. They're pretty strong and hard plastic, so I don't expect that they're going to break, but it is kind of just random how I'm throwing some of the stuff in. But again, it does all fit, no lid lift. Not a bad effort for the insert, but I think it could have been done just a little bit better. Anyway, that's it for the components. Meet me back up top and I'll let you know what I think about the game itself. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. As I did mention up top, I'm bringing this video out because this is a game that I really do enjoy, and it's one that doesn't get a whole lot of attention. Now, it was a Kickstarter. I'm not sure if it ever hit retail or not, and if it did, it was only in limited quantities. There isn't any real official news on a reprint at this point, so again, I do feel a little bit guilty for bringing this video, but I know there are a lot of people out there who have this game, who haven't played it. I know there are definitely copies floating around on the secondhand market. So I just wanted to show some love for this game and let you know my thoughts and feelings on the game and show you how the game was played. So again, I hope you did enjoy the playthrough. I hope the playthrough was helpful for you in getting an idea of how this game plays out. Let me talk about how I feel about this game. I've already mentioned that I do enjoy this one quite a bit. And this one has sort of two main core kind of mechanisms, basically being a dice drafting game and then sort of a spatial puzzler of a game with the dice that you've drafted, right? And if you know me or if you've watched any of my videos in the past, you should know by now that I love spatial puzzles. And I also love input randomness. And input randomness means, given a random situation, what can I do to most efficiently use that situation or deal with that situation to get the best results from that situation? And that's exactly what this game is doing here. So to start off, every round you're rolling a bunch of dice, and then you're taking turns with your opponent, the AI in this case, drafting dice into your tableau, which ultimately then get placed into the area and score based on sort of how those are being placed out. There are a variety of different ways that scoring works, and some of them are based simply on the colors of the dice or the numbers of the dice that you're drafting. But for the most part, the large chunk of scoring here happens based on the arrangement of the dice and how they get placed out into that sort of area on your board. And I really enjoy the way that this is working in this game because, again, input randomness. I roll the dice at the start of the round, and then I have to figure out the best way to use the dice that are available to me while also trying to figure out the best way to give the wrong dice to the AI so they are not scoring all that much as well. So I need to maximize my efficiency while minimizing the efficiency or the scoring potential of the AI player. And this balance is really interesting to me because I have to pay attention to, again, not only what I'm drafting, but what I'm not drafting that gets passed along. And then on top of that, the drafting here has many different levels. Because when I'm drafting a die into my player board, it does a bunch of things. First, it's going to drive forward one of these grunt figures based on the color of the die that I've drafted. Then, I'm either going to use that die to add to my tableau to be used in that sort of spatial scoring, as well as triggering all the actions that are printed on the die, or I'm using that die to increase sort of my purchasing power to buy cards that are going to give me new scoring goals, and or to buy ghosts that add more abilities on the track that the grunts are moving on. So there's already this layer of, why am I drafting the die? Am I drafting the die because it's a color that I need to move forward figures on my board? Am I drafting a die because it's a high number that I either want to score when I trigger the scoring on my board, and or that I want to use to get more purchasing power, to buy more cards, to buy more ghosts, to get me more stuff in the future? And this balance is really interesting to me because you're never really focused on a specific single thing, because any die that you draft can be used for something. The lower number dice are tending to give you better abilities when you place them in the spider jack area on your board. But then the higher number dice are of course going to score you more points for the higher numbers, and of course going to give you more purchasing power to buy stuff that's going to help you later. And that's a really great balance because I don't feel that if I miss out on a specific die, it's crushing me, because I can find a different way to use a different die in a different way to drive up things in different ways as I move forward. And this is super important because one really cool thing about this game is that there are all of these different layers that are going on. I can trigger abilities based on grunts moving on the tracks. I can trigger abilities based on moving my summoning tracker up the summoning track. I can trigger abilities based on placing dice in my spider jack area and using the abilities printed on the die that I'm placing. But then I can also use those abilities on the track and or on my dice to move my grunts further up the track, which triggers new abilities, which move other things on my board, which trigger new abilities. And there's this idea that there's this sort of integration of all of the different components and all of the different pieces of the ghost on my track, moving on the track, or sorry, the ghost in my neighborhood track, moving on the neighborhood track, moving on the summoning track, placing dice, and all of this integration and all of this sort of cascading effect of this triggers that, and the order of things and how I do them really does matter here. So any single die is not going to be a make or break kind of situation, but at the same time, any single die that you draft could effectively push something that triggers all of this other stuff that really does do something huge for the end game. And now, while you're doing all of this, you're focused on this puzzle, this sort of spatial puzzle that's given to you by the prophecy card that you start the game with, But then also, as you're paying attention to buying those cards at the end of every round, those cards you're buying are also giving you new sort of scoring potential based on color, based on, again, that same spatial puzzle, based on placement in other ways. It's just really interesting, again, a new overlapping thing now with the different kinds of scoring goals. Let's focus on the prophecy card first, because the prophecy card is basically detailing exactly what kind of dice I want to place on my board and how I want to place them. And that's really important because this makes this piece of the game is similar to games like Role Player or Sagrada, where you're drafting dice to fit a certain pattern to score points. And I like that, except that most of the patterns in this game are chopped into chunks. So even if I only get a piece of the pattern that I'm aiming for, I still score points on that piece. So that means that even if I draft a die that doesn't necessarily fit the prophecy card, I'm not instantly lost because I missed my pattern. I can focus on specific chunks of the pattern and then not focus on other chunks of the pattern, to instead focus on the cards that I'm buying, to instead focus on getting dice with high values, so when I trigger those scoring spots on the summoning tracks, that I get lots of points for the dice that I'm playing. If I place all 6s out and I score that and I hit 36 points in a single point score, that's big. And that might mean that I didn't have to pay attention to one of those 8 points or 10-point scoring pieces on my prophecy card. So again, there's never any death if you pick the wrong thing or if you do the wrong thing. There's always ways to adjust. There's lots of different ways on the yellow track in the neighborhood, but also through ghosts that you can place out and also through the dice to add and subtract point values on the dice to manipulate them in such a way that if you're smart, you can score a lot of points based on the scoring on the summoning track and then readjust everything so that by the end of the game, all of the dice match the dice placement, or at least the dice numbers on your prophecy card, maximizing points in both places. So this ability to switch that up is great. Then you've got the ability to drive your grunts to the end and score lots of points based on colors that match those grunts. So if I have a lot of a single color in my tableau, that means I'm also pushing that grunt a lot. And if that grunt gets all the way to the end, then I'm scoring 3 points per die in my tableau. And that's huge if I can get lots of a single color and keep pushing, especially then if I can get a ghost or even 2 ghosts that give me an additional grunt of that color, pushing them even further. And then you have to make good use of the minions if you're doing that, skipping over the minions, rushing to the end of the track, getting more and more stuff to the end, scoring based on the dice that you've got just based on color. So you've got scoring based on these cards that are adding these situations, you've got scoring based on this prophecy, and you've got scoring based on this idea of almost like a race, pushing everything to the end and scoring based on the colors that you've got, being smart about color matching. There's just so many different ways to come at this game. Yes, there are only 3 ways to score points. Well, 4 if you include the instant scoring, in-game scoring on that summoning tracker. That even with there's 4 different ways to score. That's a lot of different ways to score. But even with those 4 ways to score, there are so many different ways to trigger abilities and so many different ways to come at this same puzzle using that just the interlocking mechanisms in this game to score points in all different ways. Again, that if you don't get the right die or if you focus on the wrong thing, it's very easy to pivot and focus on something else that could potentially score you a whole lot more points than it would have been if I had focused on that first thing that I was focusing on anyway. So this level different abilities to score, level different ways to trigger abilities and trigger actions and sort of interlock and form these sort of unfolding combos on a turn, tied in with a dice drafting mechanism that I really, really enjoy as far as passing and taking and passing and taking. So there's the ability to draft what you want, but also draft what other people, or what you don't want other people to have. It all ties together in a really, really cool package that I think does a lot of interesting things, using a lot of things that you may have seen before in other games, but tying them together in different ways that you may not have seen before. And I just really enjoy this game quite a bit. So let's talk about the solo. There is a beat your own score mode and there is the AI mode. I tend not to be a big fan of beat your own score mode, so I'm obviously not going to rate that too high, but it would be a nice way to just get yourself into the game and get into the flow and see how many points you can score and see how best you can sort of maximize or efficiently play through to get the best score that you could get with a specific set of stuff coming up. The AI is really what I'm focused on here, because that's the kind of solo I tend to play is against some kind of automated opponent. This AI is going to be a mixed bag for me, not because I don't like the way it works. I really enjoy the way that it works. I really enjoy the puzzle that's presented here. Meaning that I love, as I said, drafting against an AI in this game really means something, because I do really have to pay attention to what I'm drafting and not allowing the AI to have. But it's really cool that I get to see this priority, that they're going to do this, and then they're going to do this, and then they're going to do this. So I can plan out in my head, what is the best order of things to take, and which things should I take, right? It's not just about blocking them, but it's about blocking them at the right moment so that they take something else. This is hard to explain, but what I mean is, I don't need to block them by taking a die if I can take something else that makes them take a die than the one that I want to block them from, if that makes sense. Because of this unfolding priority, they're not always focused on the same things, the same priorities. So I can actually push them to take a different die rather than stealing a die that I don't want them to have, because in either case I've prevented them from taking the die that I didn't want them to have. And that's a double puzzle, because do I take a die that helps me, that pushes them to something else, or do I take the die that they want so that they can't have it? I have to then think about what's good for me and what's good for them at the same time, but also what order does things happen so that the priority is lining up with the right dice at the right time and maximizing everything for me and minimizing everything for them. And I really like that addition to the puzzle in this game. I also enjoy the way that the AI is scoring, because they're prioritizing a specific color from the beginning of the game. But then also they've got sort of this growing, the court that they've got is this growing sort of, not priority, but this growing sort of push to score points in certain ways. So as the game progresses, they're getting stronger in certain colors and not stronger in other colors, and I need to do my best to prioritize the weaker colors over the stronger colors to prevent them from scoring. And again, this adds another new level to the game that I really enjoy thrown into the puzzle. So why do I say it's a mixed bag? Not because of the way the AI plays. I really enjoy the way the AI plays, but because of the sort of difficulty level of the AI. If you play this on normal, or you play it a little bit more difficult, easy or normal, I guess, up to like difficulty level 4 or 5, it is fairly easy to win the game. The AI is not scoring all of that amazingly well. Now, that might be just because I'm good at this kind of game and I do well when I play this game, but for most of the games that I've played against the AI, I've won. In fact, I may have won every single game I've ever played, but when I play at sort of this level 7 difficulty that I did today, things get a little bit more challenging, and my scores the last time I played, not this video that I just did, but the last time I played, I was only winning by 2 points, and it was sort of just neck and neck, and I was very excited at the end when, wow, I managed to pull out a win. This time was a little bit further ahead, but even still the scores were close enough together. Now, there are still additional ways that you can add more scoring for the AI. I could have given them an additional 1 or 2 minions at the start of the game, which would have allowed them to have more potential scoring on each of those rounds, because their court would have started bigger. And maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe I need to increase the challenge even more. But ultimately, you've seen me say this in other videos, and I'm going to say this again right now. I don't necessarily care that I win all the time. Even if the game is easy, if I enjoy what I'm doing to get to the end of the game, to score the points that I'm scoring, it's still a whole lot of fun to me. And even if I'm playing against an AI that's not so challenging, I'd still rather that over a beat your own score, because it's pushing me to do things. It's pushing me to win. If I don't focus, if I don't play as well as I can, there's a chance that I'm not going to win that game. So I really need to push. I really need to get as much as I can to win. When I push, that does maybe then mean I win by a lot. But it still means that I need to push and I need to focus and I need to work hard to make it happen. And the reason I'm winning by what I'm winning by is because I've done well at managing the AI and managing my own points. So it's still a really interesting puzzle and is still a whole lot of fun to play. And again, there are still more difficulty points that I could tweak just a little bit more to make it a little bit more challenging. So basically that's my suggestion, is that this is a whole lot of fun to play. I haven't played it multiplayer, but I really do want to, and I think it will be a blast to play multiplayer as well. I do really enjoy the way that the solo AI mode plays, but again, if you are somebody who's generally good at this kind of a game, definitely start by tweaking up the difficulty level a little bit, because it does tend to be on the easier side rather than the more challenging side on the lower levels. That's basically all I have to say about the game. Again, I know that the game is not currently in print. I cross my fingers that this will get a second printing, maybe with another expansion. I know they just showed a lot of love at Coloma, which is another game from them that was printed and sort of forgotten about for a while, and lots of people really liked, and I was very happy to see that come back with a great expansion. So maybe they'll do the same for this one as well. That's basically it for me. I hope that this video was useful for you. I hope you enjoy what you saw. As always, if you did, I do ask that you like, subscribe, and click the bell icon below, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks.